this week. I'll take the tapes and then transcribe it. That will go back to Japan. What they'll do is they'll translate all that into Japanese so that the folks
Is that a videotape recorder?
will just start.
That's nice.
You all set?
Yep.
Okay. Well, first of all, describe this amazing building that we're in. The dimensions, what makes it unique.
Well, it was built in the late 1930s. It was designed by MGM Scenic Artists. Before Sony bought the studio, it was originally MGM Studios, and through a progression of different owners, Sony ended up owning it.
Okay.
And the Scenic Artists were the ones who developed it with the north-south exposure. They weren't actually obviously the architects, but they assisted and input on having the north-south exposure, the transom windows that run up above, and the fact that the paint frames, which are unique in the world, being the size that they are and move up and down.
Yeah.
It's very unusual.
How big is it?
The paint frames are the building.
The whole building?
It's a 10-story high building. We're basically on the 5th floor, and everything down below is storage for the backings. We have 4,700 backings in stock that we rent, and we have about half of our inventory downstairs. And the other half is at the other facility 10 minutes away in Culver City where Tod works.
Now you've got Japan over here. We've got Mexico City over there. We've got the suburbs over here. Do you ever forget where you are? Does it ever feel like too much is going on here?
Not enough sometimes. It's a lot of fun. That actually what makes this job so wonderful is just you have that variety. You never know what you're all of a sudden going to get a phone call from a production designer, art director who says, I need 700 feet of snowy woods painted. And you're like, okay. So it's the variety of that makes it special.
Tell me the process. When in the movie making process are y'all brought in?
Normally in the pre-production phase, we'll either get a phone call or we'll contact the production designer, art director for feature film or television show and start the initial conversation, finding out if they need any backings done for that particular movie or TV show they're doing and what type of backdrop they'll need. And then we'll go a step further and meet with them in person, look at blueprints, their stage plan, their set plans, find out the story of the movie, what's it about, how is the backing going to be played in the movie. That's where it starts.
Do you want a backing to stand out, or do you want it to fade into the background? I mean, is it a piece of art?
No, you don't want it to stand out at all. You want it to, we're trying to recreate reality. So we want it to look like they're actually on location, when in reality they're on a stage, set.
If you notice a backdrop, bad. It's not a good thing at all.
We haven't done our job properly
Right.
if it doesn't look real.
If someone's actually looking at a window and thinking, this is fake, this is not reality, then we've not achieved our job. But the difference being, like with the 2 Mexican murals over here for Spanglish, which is a Columbia feature, they are actually being used as murals on the brick wall out on a street that they're recreating to look like a Mexican street in Chinatown, believe it or not, here in LA. Because they actually couldn't shoot on Alvaro Street, so they're shooting in Chinatown.
Well, I wonder what some of the problems, just in general, would be in doing a good piece of work like this. Maybe you can specifically sort of cite work for this picture, or other Sony pictures.
Problems. How to tackle the project, or if there's something unique about it?
Like a challenge that, and how you meet a specific challenge.
Well, I guess what just happened today when the production designer and the art director came up, they want to be able to glue this muslin piece of material directly onto a brick wall. And they want it to look like it was painted onto the brick wall. And normally what we do when something's being glued is we seal the back of it with paint so none of the moisture comes through from the glue. Well, the concern being that if we don't seal the back of it, it'll come through, but then it turns out they want to age it, they want to be able to varnish it, they want it to make it look like it's old. So it was an understanding, a dialogue that was conducted with the production designer so that we were able to say, okay, we understand where you're coming from, and we don't think you should have a problem then. But 95% of the time, we'll always seal the back of it so none of the moisture from the glue can come in. So that was kind of a problem initially, but you have a dialogue, you discuss it with the production designer and figure out a solution.
At any one time, about how many pictures might the people in this building be working on?
Oh.
That varies.
Yeah, actually,
We could be working on as many as 8 different films, or combination of films and TV shows, or maybe only, a couple.
Or only one. Like, something's got to give. The designer needed us to produce 700 feet of backdrop for him, and that was over the holidays last year. And that took up all the frames. It took all of our time. And that's a lot of backdrop to be painting. So it depends on how small the projects are. If they're all as small as Spanglish, I can fill up all the frames. But if they're 700 feet, that needs to be knocked out in like a month and a half or something like that, then one.
Is there a competition or competition with people doing CGI? Is that like, I don't know, is that, are people surprised that there's even this much work going on now?
No, actually, we work together with people that are doing the CGI effects. Good example, very recent film that's about to come out called 51st Dates, Columbia Pictures. They needed a large backdrop of Oahu landscape. It was actually the Kahului fish pond in Oahu near the North Shore. And it was 190 feet wide by 36 feet high. And there was a question of how much CGI green screen work should be done on stage versus the use of the photographic backdrop. And they were originally budgeting about $3 million for CGI green screen shots, but once they finally got the Translight installed, or the photo backing installed, and lit, and they saw how real it looked, it ended up saving them about $1 million in CGI green screen shots they did not have to do. So it worked out very well, and so we work in conjunction with CGI.
And you were telling me before that in the other building you have, there's a lot of, you're using a whole different kinds of technological approaches there other than painting.
Well, we do photographic backdrops at our other studio, as well as this super wide format digital printing process. There are 3 different products that we produce for the industry.
How do you research when you get a job to depict the suburbs, say, or Oahu? Do you get to go to Oahu and have a vacation and say you're taking notes and take a picture?
Todd actually travels a lot. For shooting the photo backings and everything, he is the one who goes with 8x10.
Oh, you're the lucky guy.
Yeah, he's the lucky guy.
It would be nice to have a vacation, yes, but we're always under a strict deadline. So I fly there, get the shots, and fly back to get the film processed so we can start the project. Unfortunately, I've flown all over the world, a lot of different unique locations, Oahu being one of them. But unfortunately, because of the deadline constraints, don't have enough time to spend
He never does.
extra time there.
But for the painted backdrops, once again, the percentage, 95, is that the production designers bring in the research themselves. They'll do the research. They usually will lay it out. They'll present it, and then we usually just take it and then execute it. Occasionally, I do go out and shoot the research shots for a client if they very specifically want me to, but it's 35 millimeter format. I usually tell them, what lenses to use, how to go about doing it, and then they can pretty much figure it out from there. I need certain measurements from them depending on what type of backing we're doing. It's an architectural backing, but usually they come in with the research. Once again, with Spanglish, they're the ones who, the production designer developed how she wanted it to look, the feeling of it and everything else, and they came in with these boards, which are over there, which I can show you later, of this is what we want. And my conversation with the art director was, okay, this is what you want. I said, we're quite literal. We will paint this. Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
So, and they said, yes, this is what we want. So I said, okay.
Well, what about if you knew, what about if the Oahu you saw was different from the Oahu that the pictures look like when
we
they bring
actually
them
did take some liberties and digitally manipulate the original photography that I shot. That's one of the things we also do is, a lot of digital imaging of the original photography to suit the film's requirements, the script, the production designer's concept of how the film should look. And we took a little liberties. Probably the public will never notice it, but it was important to the film to have certain parts of the landscape moved around.
Without getting too technical, could you maybe tell me a few or one trick of the trade, how you make something look real? Maybe with an example from the film, if that's possible.
As far as the painted backdrops? On the other side of the frame is some drops that we did for Hook and also for America's Sweethearts. And it is all to do with the shadowing under like a window ledge, or the texture they put onto a brick, or where the angle of the sun is shining. And all those add depth and elements, and the scenic artists are all fully trained scenic artists. They've been with us for years. They're incredibly talented, and they were trained in the old MGM style of scenic painting, and that is what is our JC backing is known for, is that quality, that depth, that reality that is.
And MGM is like the gold standard, right?
It was the gold standard, and so, but during the course of the years, of course, the scenic artists kept passing along the trade. Our grandfather was incredibly talented. He was, one of the original, not original, that goes way, way back, but scenic artists who established a standard that to this day, we're proud to say we still carry on.
Well, tell me about the family, because I think maybe people are aware of Hollywood families in terms of, Sean Penn and his parents being in the business, or the actor side of it, the performer side of it. But you guys are like the Barrymores of backdrop.
Okay.
That's a great family. One of the classic Hollywood families that maybe people don't know about the way they know about the Barrymores.
We just feel very proud that we've been able to keep the company going for
We're
3
third
generations now.
generation, yeah.
We're the 3rd generation of the family running the business, and we hope to keep the business going long enough, changing with technology over the years to allow my children to run the business in the future. Who knows? And it's quite unique to have a family business go on for 3 generations, and for it to even go 4 would be amazing.
Which we're hoping for.
Yeah?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Absolutely. Our grandfather and our father is the one who started JC Backings in 1962. So we're really proud of that. Though the legacy of scenic art goes way, way back in our family to like the 1800s, when there were scenic artists in England and then came over to New York.
Like
And
theatrical backdrops?
Theatrical, painting furniture painters, and then the old movies that were starting to develop in New York, and then moved to California because, of course, that's where movies were starting to be made.
Theater production as well.
Theater production as well, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a nice history. Unfortunately for both of us, our grandfather passed away in 1972, so we really, Todd's 3 years older than I am, so I don't have as much of a memory of him, and Todd has a little bit more than I do. All the art directors that we speak with today and earlier
He's
in
still
our career,
revered. He's
they
still revered highly in
talk
the
about
industry.
him. And our father too. Our father is an incredibly talented man, an incredibly talented scenic artist. And he's the one who took the company after our grandfather passed away and passed something along to us that we are so fortunate to have.
When you were kids, would you like see a movie or see something on the screen and say, my dad painted that, or I saw that being made? Or did you ever have that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna ask which films, and we actually were talking about it. There's so many.
Well,
it's
tell
like
me a few.
The King and I is one. It's magical, and we actually still have all the backings from The King and I.
Yeah, we have the original
Yeah, we
backdrops
really
of the
do.
King and I, and they're very colorful.
They're beautiful.
Almost magical looking, the way they were done, depicted in the movie.
Planet of the Apes, we saw the backings from those as well. So to be able to see things like that. Oh boy. Some Sony films, Ghostbusters. Todd actually painted on those.
Oh, cool.
I'm a trained scenic artist also, as well as being a professional photographer.
Uh-huh.
So, worked on the Ghostbusters backing,
Uh-huh.
and it was actually the first time that the technique of painting on both sides of the backing was utilized, where we painted it was a New York skyline, very detailed New York skyline, painted at almost full scale. It's like 3/4 scale, and the sky was a blue sky, day blue sky was painted on it, and on the back side we did an extreme sunset sky. So when you front lit it, you had this day blue sky, and when you back lit it, they actually would meld the lights from front lighting to back lighting very slowly, so it would turn into this extreme sunset sky, and it worked very well for the film.
Yeah. Was there ever any doubt for either of you that you would go into the business, or was it just? Tell me about that.
It kind of chose me. I didn't think there was anything I could do within the company because it was small at that point in time. And I always wanted to work here, but I didn't want to become a trained scenic artist. It didn't interest me. And after I graduated from college, my parents approached me and said, well, our rental manager needs an assistant. Do you want to come work for us? And I went, okay. And we gave each other a year to see if it would work out or not, and I guess it did. I'm still here.
Yeah. Now I saw in a press release or some press material I have You studied psychology?
Yeah.
Wow. So you really were pursuing another fund.
During college, all my internships were in advertising and public relations, and I had actually landed a job at an ad agency before my parents approached me, because they didn't want me to think they were feeling sorry for me. And, well, we're going to offer poor Lynn a job after her graduation. I actually had taken another job when they approached me, and I went, oh, no, I'd rather work for you guys.
Does psychology ever come in handy in this business?
Oh, all the time.
Tell me how.
Managing the scenic artists, they're artists. They're wonderful, but they all have their different temperaments. Art directors, production designers, same way. Every single one of them is different. And when you go out and you do those sales calls with them, you have to adapt your personality to how they speak and look at things, and because they're all different. They're all wonderful, but they're all different. Some are really practical and cut and dry. Some are very flamboyant and creative, and you just learn to adapt.
Yeah. What about you? Did you always know this was the calling?
Well, I used to tell my friends back in high school, I want to run the company someday.
Wow.
And I fulfilled that dream, so.
So you knew, and
Yeah.
you obviously you manage, but you've also, as you say, done the hands-on work, the
Yeah.
artwork.
Trained as a scenic artist and did a lot of the painting on the backings, and then also as a photographer for the company. And, whatever capacity I was needed in the company to provide what we need for our clients.
Why don't we take a break there and then move over to the other side? If you guys could just stay right there.
Okay. The Kodak one?
So, this guy just goes wild.
I'm sensing that.
There's no stopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are all the designations.
Either or both of you, your children, if they said, and I don't know.
I don't have any, so.
Okay, well then I'm
2 dogs and 2 cats.
Okay, well maybe they'll run
I
the
know,
business.
they're not telepathic.
You would like your children, but what if your children said, Dad, I want to run the company someday? What would you say, and how would it make you feel?
I would be supportive of whatever my children decide to do, whether it be, the desire to be in this business in maybe this capacity or another capacity, eventually running the business. I would be very supportive of anything they want to do. Actually, both my children have recently worked for the company last summer. During their summer vacation, they worked 3 weeks here. And it was the first time my son had worked for the company, and he enjoyed it. And the second year, my daughter had done it. So
How'd they do?
they did well. I think they did well.
And I was very proud because Erica chose to work here 2 years in a row. So, and she had a choice. She could have been with Todd, or she could have been over here. So, she chose here.
She is very artistic as well, my daughter. So she wanted to work with the scenic artists and learn some of the tricks that they do. So she was very interested in learning from them.
And she's a very good worker.
Well, that's important. Just in the time, maybe I'll ask the whole family sweep in a minute, but just in the time that you guys have been involved in the company, how has the industry changed? How has the business of making backdrops, and how's that? Has it stayed the same, or is it developing?
In the course of us running the business or getting involved with the business, we introduced photo backings to our inventory. They already were being done, but to our inventory because our clients asked for it. And then the digital print backing, same reason, is primarily because you need to evolve, you need to adapt, and that's what DPs are asking for, what the production designers are asking for. So it's better for us to keep ahead and to keep abreast and to provide them with that product, because if we don't, then eventually we won't have something to pass on to
Well, that goes
Erica and
along.
Ryan.
Well, that goes along with changing with the technology. You have to keep up with the times and change with the technology as it advances. So that's what we're trying to do.
And in conjunction with the CGI aspect, we're making our images available to our clients, just the images, so they can use them in any sort of CGI capacity, or use them to project onto screens, or use them to put in little 8x10 photographs if they want to be able to put their actor in and then put it up on the wall, which was something that was done recently. So.
What was that?
Oh dear, you're gonna ask me that question. I can't remember the name of the film. Honestly, I can't. But it was a pirate ship backdrop, and they just wanted the 35mm slide. So we charged them image use fee for the slide, and worked out real well.
Interesting. What's is technology just on a sort of a level of feeling? is it a friend of the business, or is it something that you look at almost as, you know, a bit of a foe because, you know, it could take a bite out of things if you're not keeping up with it and adapting to it? I mean,
You know, it's a friend because it'll become a foe, and it won't just be affecting us when it becomes a foe. It'll be affecting everybody. You're talking the grips, the directors, I mean, everybody, because what will eventually, I would assume would eventually end up happening is virtual reality sets. Actors will be just hitting marks on a stage or something. I don't know if that'll become a reality. I personally think that actors would balk at doing something like that, but it'll become a foe to everybody. And at that point, then the whole idea of backdrops or even sets.
thought about that.
It's a very scary thought.
Virtual
Well,
reality.
one of the other things we're looking into and doing is we have a lot of stock image that I've shot over the years, you know, all over the world, and all in a high resolution format. And they have to start with some kind of an image, even if they want to do it in post, CGI, whatever it may be, and we could just sell the stock images, you know.
Wow. You must have an amazing, I'll call it a library,
Yes.
that is both
Yes.
a collection of art and a sort of documentation about how things look all over the world in the past.
Yeah, very extensive.
That's amazing. So, yeah.
Shots of before with New York skyline, with, you know, the World Trade Center, and without the World Trade Center.
Right.
So
Yeah.
What's the biggest backdrop you've ever made?
Oh,
Well,
well, I mean, okay. It depends on the subject matter. We just actually recently finished painting a backdrop that was 650 feet, 48 feet tall of airport. It is the largest architectural backing that's ever been painted, and it was done for a feature film called The Terminal. And we just actually finished that about a month and a half ago. But we've done over 700 feet of backdrop from Nancy Myers. That's Something Gotta Give. Todd, as far as the largest chromatrans.
photographic backdrop ever made was for a movie called Mercury Rising. It was 440 feet wide, 38 feet tall. The tallest photographic backdrop ever made was for The Matrix, which was 190 feet wide and 48 feet tall.
And they flew that one to Sydney, Australia. They had to load it in through the nose of the airplane to get it there. It was,
Because the tube
It was
that was
so
rolled
big.
up inside it was so long, they could not fit on a plane.
well, it did. They flew it,
Well,
but they threw it.
special plane,
Yeah,
yeah.
they loaded it through the nose of the plane.
Dig that.
Well, what was it, a 50-foot long tube?
I want to ask a question that was asked a minute ago off camera about abstract work that you guys, along with being, you know, doing this amazing realistic work, there are projects that call for you to have abstract painting. Tell me about some of those.
Well, as I mentioned before, the scenic artists are incredibly talented. They can paint any type of style, from Magritte to Dali to WPA styles, which is what we did for Spider-Man 2 for their bank set, and then also the Mexican murals on the other side for Spanglish. Those are abstract. And so any kind of artwork that a client would like to have replicated, we will do. We can do it. It always makes me laugh when art directors ask me, well, can they paint like this? And I'm like, yes, they can paint like this. You know, they can do pointillism, they can do impressionism, they can do realism, they can do all that. For Todd, as far as you're getting to the CGI aspect, some of the stuff you did for Alien 3,
Alien Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection.
Totally.
Well, no.
The interior corridors.
Yeah, but that's not really abstract. What was that stuff that you did with the green grass and the red sky and the moon?
Those
Earth
for
thing?
Kodak.
Those were Kodak?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did some abstract photographic images for Kodak, actually, directly for Kodak. And they gave us some digital files that we had to manipulate and create the very abstract-looking scene, and then blow them up photographically. So anything can be done. Anything can be created, from reality to, you know, abstract and everything in between. So.
Do you paint on your own?
I think we've got a bird in our shop.
I'm hearing something.
There's a bird in our shop.
Okay, here we go.
They fly in.
Are we
There's
good to
actually
go?
broken windows, and they
Three,
fly in through the windows and they get trapped.
One, go.
Well, I wanted to ask what "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff" means. Why you guys picked that as a message?
Well, kind of like this interview. I was sweating it, and I shouldn't have, because it's been a lot of fun. It really has. Primarily because, you know what, most small problems get solved, and it's really family, health, happiness, love, that's what's more important. So too many people get caught up in sweating the small stuff
Yeah.
instead of
Trivial
just keeping a
things
bigger picture as far
when
as
they
what
shouldn't.
life's all about.
Yeah.
So keep your eye on the big picture.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes.
Do you guys always get along as siblings?
Well, we.
I'll let him answer that question.
No, not always.
Can you tell me a time when
But
maybe
we
you-
have developed a very good working relationship with each other, as well as our personal relationship with each other over the years. It's taken a lot of time.
Yeah, it
but,
has.
It's
But we-
grown to what it is now, and we get along very well now, and run the business together very well now. So
was that true growing up as well? That there was, you know,
there's always the sibling rivalry, you know, brothers and sisters. You know, Lynn has a twin also. We have a twin.
She lives in Tahiti, though.
okay.
Yeah, so she
She's
actually doesn't
chosen
have.
a different path.
Yeah, very much
and,
so.
You know, so it's just the two of us primarily. And yes.
Great. Great. I think that does it.
Great.
Yep, good.
So it's last minute phone.
But you can tell, I mean,
Now, could you go inside and come
yeah,
out the
exactly.
door?
You can walk up and.
We're saying, are these made, Mr. Scotto was asking, are these made in a way that they could actually